Streets today about the government's response, but I think in the town that we were in earlier, you really see just how monumental this disaster is. The town is completely unsafe, and this is echoed across an area the size of the Netherlands. There are tens of thousands of people responding, but how could any country cope when faced with such devastation? And just to say, the following scenes are distressing. Delirious with rage and grief. "Come and save them," she screams. 6 members of her family are buried under the rubble. In the town of Kirkan, people's anger is mounting. They say the government abandoned them. "Why didn't help come sooner?" he shouts at the health and defence ministers. When they turned up today, they were confronted on the streets. Why is it taking so long for the rescue efforts? The diggers have now arrived, but locals tell us they only came this morning, ahead of the ministers. Everywhere you look in this small town, a building is reduced to rubble or completely unsafe. It's uninhabitable, and people are having to sleep out in the open in freezing conditions. This is a government stronghold, but despite that, the anger is palpable. People keep coming up to us and saying they had no help for 2 days. They're angry.
For the first 2 days, we didn't receive anything from the government, not even a bottle of water. Food, bread and water were brought by volunteers.
Ahmad's wife and 3 children are one of 2 families rescuers believe are buried here. They think they've heard as many as 4 voices. Rescuers call for silence, to listen. It's hard to imagine how long each minute must feel for their relatives. There is still hope here. Elsewhere in the town, there is only despair. The bodies of 6-year-old Asila and her grandparents have just been pulled from what was once their home, carefully laid in the graveyard across the road. Millions of Turks are living moments like this, scenes of grief from one small town mirrored around this region. Across the border in Syria, those who survived bury those who didn't. Dug out from the rubble, they are returned to the earth, a quiet dignity away from the noise of ongoing searches. At first, they couldn't see little Abdul Hakim's face, but they knew he was alive.
Stay strong, Abdul Hakim. We will get you out in 5 minutes. Just pray to God.
He held on, and so did they. But as the hours pass, there are fewer miracle moments for the White Helmets rescuers, and a growing acceptance of the grim reality.
This body bag that I'm holding is for my brother, his younger son and both of their wives. We will put them in these bags.
Ibrahim lost his wife too. In all, 18 members of a single family buried where they slept. The rebel-held northwest has been waiting for aid, all delivery routes fractured by a decade of war. Today, the first UN aid convoy finally arrived. It was -5 degrees last night in Idlib. Tents in a public park were packed. There's no heat, but it's home now for who knows how long. The plates of the earth are resettling, sending aftershocks out as they do. In the Turkish province of Hatay, the teetering buildings, collapsed blocks and human chains of rescuers form a much bigger picture, one of unimaginable loss. And they have barely begun to unearth the true cost. The death toll is rising relentlessly. 72 hours is known as the window of survival. It's been 90. And yet, on day 4, reasons for hope. Across Turkey, dazed children are still being pulled into the light. 79 hours after he was trapped, this 2-year-old boy emerged to shouts of relief. Baby Helene is unscathed, in perfect health after her rescue. And this little girl's survival against all odds brought her heroes to their knees. This is why they keep searching. Not all of the children saved are old enough that they will remember the quake or remember their parents. 16 babies from Kahramanmaraş with no family to be found have been flown to the Turkish capital, cradled by volunteers, orphaned by disaster.